is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin' Cowboys. Streaming live from Dallas Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Buried, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it into the touchdown.
Here are Mickey Spagnola, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Bill Jones.
And this is training camp 2019. We are at the corner of Vineyard and Ventura in Oxnard, California. And the Cowboys will be out on this practice field behind us. Well, for a little walkthrough right after Talking Cowboys this morning. And then the first practice of the 2019 training camp coming up this afternoon. I am Bill Jones with Brian Broaddus, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, and we are set to go for another training camp. It's like Christmas has come, isn't it?
The return of Talking Cowboys.
That's right. This is Talking Cowboys, and this is the first of 15 practices here in Oxnard. The way I look at it, over the course of the next 3 weeks, it's like a 16-game season.
You're going to divide this thing up in quarters.
We're dividing it up. We're playing the Giants today. This is game number 1. Now, how do I get to 16? Because there's a preseason game in the middle of that, too, at San Francisco.
Yeah, that's good.
Good math, Bill.
That's, again, Oklahoma math. But I like the way you're thinking about that, because I think as players and coaches, you kind of break it up, too. The first few practices and stuff, everybody trying to get acclimated to each other. They've had the OTA practices, the mini camp, but we'll notice, and we'll talk about it quite a bit, the intensity of these practices. And I think that's where we'll see the players that'll have rises, then they'll fall. Then you got to avoid the ups and downs of a training camp practice or the grind of a practice. Hopefully our show won't. We'll be on our way up.
We're going to stay on an even keel.
We're going to stay on an even keel. Go up. Mickey and I will try and kill each other 1 or 2 shows. But that's
maybe today.
I'm not sure putting them next to each other.
No, this is good.
This is what I did. I moved to the corner right here.
You don't want to get hit by the back flag.
Mickey and I are good with this. But I like what you're doing though, and I think players do the same thing. I think that they really, they figure out, okay, I can't have any bad days. Got to have good days. Got to keep building. Got to keep doing. And that's the great thing is you think, okay, how can I get through these? It'll be a test for a lot of these young kids. It was a young roster last year, and a lot of these guys coming back now knowing, guys like Michael Gallup now know what it's like to have a full training camp practice under his belt. Now he knows what he has to do to elevate his game as well.
You mentioned the intensity, and it's really going to pick up Monday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, and I think it's the right thing not to have these padded practices these first 2 days because we've talked about it. You take a month off, these guys are in shape. They had the conditioning run yesterday and all that, but ease them back in, and then, once the pads get on Monday, that's going to be interesting.
But the pads for Talking Cowboys are on
always
today.
And the gloves are on.
Our intensity begins today.
But Mickey and I have always talked about this too, though. And I think I'm still on the same page with you about this, is if they could have had more time off early and then came to camp off season later and then get it where we could jump into the pads and stuff like that where they didn't have 5-6 weeks off. That's where I think the worry about everybody at this table, I think the worry about all the guys and gals over in this building over here are thinking about, okay, how do we get them? I mean, we've already seen some, if you're following news around the league, you've already seen some guys getting banged up and hurt and stuff.
Not banged up, torn ACLs.
Well, I don't want to kind of make that cloud over.
Cowboys' first opponent, the Giants, lost a couple of wide receivers.
So,
practice.
That's the thing you worry about. Easing in good, but, man, I think, I'd like to see him hit the ground running, but I totally agree with Rob. I understand what they're trying to do or what the league's trying to do with player safety and stuff like that.
And I think they did a very good job on the conditioning run.
Yeah.
I think that they survived that. And even though the weather here is pretty good, when they were coming off the field, there were some sweaty bodies. It looked like I won't use that analogy.
Go ahead. What is it?
That's all right.
You know how.
Don't put us off the air the first day, though.
It's nice being with you guys. Thank you.
After the Kentucky Derby, horses come in
absolutely.
The stables,
absolutely
they're all sweaty and lathered up.
I knew exactly where you were going with that.
I had to think twice about using that.
Yeah, maybe so.
So, but I think now this field is fairly new. And
you've inspected the field already.
I've inspected the field, and all they did was run on it. Okay.
Yeah. What did you inspect exactly?
There were divots. It looked like a golf course.
It's
you know how
there is a golf course over here.
Yes,
maybe this is the.
They were over here.
This is the chipping green,
and they
it's
weren't.
Not football.
They weren't like cutting and turning and pivoting, and they were just running straight ahead. And there were a lot of divots. So the grass is not real thick. So we'll see.
It looks
and this
pretty.
Is kind of, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
I mean,
it looks
is
good
gorgeous.
From here. Yeah.
Well,
but it looks like a soccer field.
Yeah. Did you notice anybody's divots that wasn't there? Did you notice any divots?
Somebody that fell in their divot?
No. Did you notice somebody that wasn't out there making divots?
Oh, yeah. There was one person.
Yeah.
And I would imagine he would have trouble cutting on this. So maybe it's good that he's
got balance.
not here.
This guy's got some balance to him, though.
Yeah.
He does have some balance.
Yeah, you get the practice field worked in before he shows up, if he shows up at Oxnard.
You want to get to the elephant in the room?
Yeah.
Okay, number 21.
All right.
So what do you make of it?
He's not here. And you know what? They don't seem bothered by it. And I know everybody out there is panicking and the anxiety level's high because Ezekiel Elliott is not here. But you know what? Not very long ago, this was standard operating procedure in the National Football League. Guys holding out to try to improve their contracts or to get contracts. Back in the day when the contracts expired, they didn't have free agency, and there was always haggling going on, especially with the rookie class. The rookies didn't have this rookie scale pay. And there was always first-round draft choices holding out.
Every year.
God, I could remember.
Oh, no question.
I mean, it was like half my time in training camps were spent tracing down contract negotiations, talking to agents, getting one side of the story, the other side of the story. And the NFL's kind of eliminated that the way the system is now with this new CBA. But again, if somebody thinks they're not getting paid enough, then I guess Zeke can do what he wants to do. But if he watched the press conference yesterday, if it was me, I would think, they're not really upset. What am I doing here? Because they could make me just sit. But the bottom line on all this, and I'll get to the bottom line of it all, guys do not miss paychecks, right?
That's fair.
Now, not 99%. And somebody's going to say, well, Le'Veon Bell did it. Okay,
right,
fine.
Right.
And then you never make that money up. But guys do not miss paychecks. Just remember what happened last year at this time with Earl Thomas in Seattle. And what did he do? He signed on Tuesday before the season opener.
That's fair. And there is the 30-day rule thing that's hovering over this whole thing. It's okay, maybe it's a Zeke holdout, but August 6th is the day you think he would report, because if he wants to get to free agency, he's got to be here by then to get that accrued fourth season.
But he's got another year to do that, too.
He does.
He could do that next year.
He does.
But I don't think it'll ever get to that point.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't think the
the
Cowboys want
which
to
is
get
why
that
I
point even?
I don't look at the August 6th deadline as affecting Zeke that much, just because the Cowboys are going to sign him sometime, whether it's now or to a long-term deal, whether it's this year or next year or whenever. He's never going to get to free agency unless he does something off the field that keeps him from signing long-term.
Do you feel like, though, that – and again, I really appreciate what everybody's saying here, but can you focus on the other? Would he be a type of guy that would sit the whole entire season? I know, Mickey, you're absolutely right. Players don't miss paychecks, and I think they have a firm understanding of Zeke. With Zeke's lifestyle the way he is, I'm not trying to slam Zeke, but he needs money. I'm just going to say it. He needs money. He made a lot of money. He needs money the way he lives, and that's because the way he plays, and he deserves that right to live the way he wants. But is there a side that we could say that he might take the Le'Veon Bell? I know you're not going to get the money back, but is that in your mind? Is it a 10% worry that, you know what, maybe Zeke will be so stubborn that he won't do
use the Le'Veon Bell example. Is there something in him that has done the history lesson on Emmitt Smith where he might do the Emmitt Smith thing?
Yeah.
Not with the intent of sitting out a whole season, but just long enough to where the Cowboys really.
I agree with Mickey. I do agree with Mickey about not missing paychecks because we talked about Earl Thomas. He's right, but I think it's fair to say, is this a different cat? Here's somebody that's holding out 2 years before his time, not a year, but 2 years is his approach.
His or his agent.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
I don't talk to Rocky Arson.
Yeah, I don't either. But this is where all this is started.
Okay.
And now here's the deal. Are they asking for something that is so unreasonable that the Cowboys don't budge? Because they will budge, right, if you're reasonable and meet them in the middle. If they're asking for unreasonable salary demands, then this thing can be protracted, because I'll tell you what, I've seen Jerry Jones operate in situations like this, and he can be awfully stubborn.
Sure.
But to double down on that, I think Steven's even more stubborn.
He is not wrong. You're not wrong, Mickey, about that.
And to your point, the way they were talking at the press conference yesterday, coming out and saying he's late, we expect our guys under contract to be here. I don't think they want to set a precedent that, if you're going to hold out, then we're going to budge and we're going to try to accommodate you while you're away. They don't want because, look, they got a lot of young, good players on this team. They don't want a repeat of this every time a guy's got a contract up. Yeah. That, all I got to do is not show up.
Right.
And then we'll try to meet you in the middle and accommodate you. I'm surprised he's not here. I honestly thought and there's a lot of people in the organization, I think, that thought he would be here, too.
I totally agree with you on that. Yeah.
And I thought the Cowboys would be able to tell him, look, we love you. Just show up. We'll keep talking. We'll get this done. But it's not there yet. And to Mickey's point, maybe it's because they're far apart.
So why is the agent advising Zeke to do this?
I heard he was, I don't know how experienced of an agent he is. I'm not familiar with him. But
he's been in the business for a while.
For a while?
Yes, sir.
Well, I had heard that he didn't really
contracts
have a good understanding of this new CBA and some of the things they have to work through. I think significant is when Zeke was seen at the Star on Wednesday, he didn't look like a man that was PO'd. Like, he was smiling, shaking hands with people, I'm told. It doesn't seem like it's contentious. It's kind of a ploy that everybody tries to use to try to get leverage.
I think it gets right back to Todd Gurley last year. I mean, the agent saw what the Rams did with Todd Gurley. He was in the exact same position that Zeke is right now. He had 2 years left under control by the Rams because he was drafted in 2015. Zeke was in 2016, and he got a 4-year, $57 million deal, whatever it was, on July 24th of last year is when Todd Gurley signed. And I think Zeke's agent thinks the Cowboys should treat Zeke the way the Rams did Todd Gurley.
I think Bryant nailed it right before camp when we were talking about it. You know, when we talk about these guys up for contracts, who do we name first? Dak, and then who? Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that, and again, that was on him to a certain degree, 6-game suspension 2 years ago. But had he not been suspended 6 games, hey, I'm probably a 3-time rushing champ. 3 years in the league, 3-time rushing champ. Like you say, Brian, just give me a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just kind of trying to remind the Cowboys, look, I want this. You know, I deserve this. I want this. Is it the right way to go about it? Maybe not.
Just remember, and I don't have I could call it up and read it, but Jerry Jones, the most forceful and emotional he got is when somebody asked him about comparing Zeke's contract or Dak's contract to Carson Wentz, and he went on a litany. And I think he started with a litany.
He said litany twice.
It was a litany of
contracts
that we have to sign, and our list is different from somebody else's list. Yeah. And our salary cap is different from somebody else's salary cap, and I'm not going to be dictated by this quote-unquote market value that the media loves to rest on when they make their argument that, well, if that guy got paid that, then the next guy's got to get paid more. And I'm sure the agent thinks the exact same way. Yeah. And to the point what Rob said is, and he ended it with saying, if I do this, I'll have a line outside my door, everybody coming up and say, hey, Jones, I want some of your money.
Right.
And that's why you got to put your foot down, because that exactly is what will happen. And that was always the argument for guys that were under contract before free agency began, that if one guy held out and you caved, then the next guy goes, hey, what about me?
Could part of this be, and I'm just going to throw this out, could part of this be that they have so much confidence now in Dak Prescott and being able to carry this team? Do you know what I'm saying? That you think without Zeke, can Dak Prescott carry this team?
I don't think they're making any decision on without Zeke. I think they want to get it done, but they want to get it done in a fair way and not somebody asking for outlandish money.
Yeah. I feel that's right about Dak.
They want to sign Dak.
If they thought they were going into this season without Zeke, any chance not having Zeke on the field, their backup running back situation would look different. I realize they drafted a 4th-round running back and a 7th-round running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they got Darius Jackson and Jordan Chunn, but they would have a veteran guy ready to go if they didn't think Zeke was going to be playing this year.
I think it could be both things, Brian. Like they feel good about Dak taking a step forward.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to hoist the Lombardi Trophy at the end of this thing, they know you need 21. They know it. Yeah. But it comes down to, what Mickey said, what I said earlier, the precedent. You don't want to set this.
No question.
No question. You can't have it.
They've got too many good players that have contracts up if they're lining up at the door.
And if you talk to them, this whole thing is not about the salary cap this year. It's about the salary cap next year. And the salary cap in 2021, when you get into the unknown when the new CBA needs to be knocked out, and what kind of rules are you coming up with? And you don't want to hamstring yourself because all you were thinking about, you were short-sighted, and all you were thinking about is 2019. Oh, I got $24 million of space available. Okay, that's fine. What happens to that space next year when immediately DeMarcus Lawrence base salary goes from $1.5 million to $16 million. And then if I got another guy that has $16 million and another guy that has $12 million and another guy that's going to have $30 million, what happens to my cap next year? Because the cap's going to go up, but it ain't going to go up that much.
It's interesting in bringing up the Todd Gurley thing, and you compare and I know Jerry does not want, as you said, as Jerry said yesterday, he's not comparing his situation with the Rams situation, but here's the difference between the Rams and the Cowboys. Well, there's several similarities. Number one, last year they had to sign their top defensive player, who's the best defensive player in the league, Aaron Donald, whatever. Cowboys did that with DeMarcus Lawrence in the offseason. They also traded for and had to sign long-term Brandon Cooks, their wide receiver. So there's your Amari Cooper. And then their quarterback came into the league at the same time as Dak Prescott did. But the difference there is that quarterback was at the top of the draft and had 2 years left on his contract, and 3 years at that time. And Dak has 1 year left. And so that's why the Cowboys have to put Dak at the top of the priority list right now.
Dak and I think Amari Cooper.
Amari
it goes back to where I think Brian said, those guys have expiring contracts. Zeke doesn't. I'm sorry. And
that's what and Jerry, in talking with reporters, I think as he was leaving yesterday, was talking about comparing Zeke with Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, he said there's a difference there.
That there's a difference, and he said Emmitt was not under contract or whatever. Well, Emmitt was under contract, but what he meant was he had an expiring contract. He was going into the last year of his deal, so he had nothing 6 months from now at that time in 1993.
Yeah, I think if you listen to Emmitt, and that was foggy, and I always meant to go back and look, I think he was restricted. Like he could entertain offers from someone, because he said he had offers from Miami to go back home to Florida, but he wanted to stay with the Cowboys. And so, that whole thing was different.
Right.
It wasn't the same. And this is different from DeMarco Murray letting Murray walk. All those people that I see, you just get another one. Okay, fine, you get another one, but you won't get the one.
But if you're trying to think about it from Zeke's perspective, it may be a little different for him compared to other guys in the league at different positions than a Dak or Amari because of what he plays. He plays running back, and there's a finite prime for those guys. And people think it ends sometimes 27, 28 years old. He's 23 right now, I believe. So if
he's 24. He just turned 24 on Monday.
So if you wait 2 years to re-sign him, he's 26. And now all of a sudden he's creeping closer to what people say, studies say, the end of somebody's prime. Not that he's going to be that, but he wants to get his money now because of the position he plays.
That's a really good point, Rob, because what happens, I talk to guys. I'm not an analytics guy myself. I'm sitting here doing radio with you guys. I don't always look at the numbers and stuff. But I did reach out while we had a break and talk to analytics guys about running backs. And they all put Zeke in a different category.
Yeah.
They put Todd Gurley in a different category. They put Le'Veon Bell in a different category. First thing they'll tell you is you should never sign a running back long term. But then they'll say, but there's some players, some backs that you have to, it makes you think a different way.
Because they'll also say, don't draft a running back number 4 overall, too.
Right. And I think that, to me, that's where you're kind of a situation that even the analytics guys, who it seems like our game is gravitating towards that way, even the analytics guys in their mind say, yeah, I wouldn't do it. But, and then you talk to scouts, and they're like, what do you think about if you play Ezekiel Elliott, and you're like, he never comes off the field. That's I make up the number. I don't make it up. It's 2,001 yards. Is what he accounted for last year.
90% of the snaps.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You just don't sit there and say, okay, well, the offensive line, and you could I personally, and I'm hoping for a Dak elevation this year. I really am. I'm hoping that if they do have to play without him, and they probably won't, but if they do have to play without him, I hope to see Dak play really, really well and be able to carry this team. If Tony Romo was the quarterback, I might even feel different. I might feel a veteran quarterback, even though Dak's a veteran quarterback. But I've seen like Tony take a team with nothing and make it work.
Yeah,
and that's where
get into that.
I'm trying to help Dak is what I want to do.
And let's get into that when we come back here on Talking Cowboys. What will it take for Dak to reach that higher elevation in just a moment?
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine being shipwrecked on a desert island, alone. Glass-like curls of surf pound the shore with Dr. Pepper-colored waves. Surrounded by desire, but you can't drink it because it's the ocean, fish live in there. The only thing you want is Dr. Pepper, and you can't have it.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
We continue on Talking Cowboys on the first day of practice out here in Oxnard. Brian brought us.
Yeah, I just want to say hello to all the people that hang out with us on Periscope. We'll be doing this every day. Make sure you check us out that way. Check out DallasCowboys.com, Somos Cowboys, all that stuff. And also hello to all our folks that follow us overseas. I know we got a lot of folks that tune in every single day, and we appreciate every single one of you.
And there are a lot of Cowboys fans out here in Southern California as well. Some have made the trip from Texas out here for training camp. And the schedule for today, opening ceremonies, this is Pacific time at 2:30 this afternoon, and the first practice at 3:30. And there's a new look to the practice field out here. If you look off to my right looking at the field, the condos are under construction, and boy, those are going to be some prime real estate to watch Cowboys practice next year when they are finalized.
I'm just glad the guy sandblasting yesterday at this time has
that was not
subsided
our fault.
today.
Yeah.
You handled it very well. I was impressed with you. Yeah,
I told him, cut it.
You'd lose your mind.
I'll tell you what, though. The
Jerry even referenced it during the press conference yesterday.
Credit to the Residence Inn.
Yeah.
They have a new general manager, and I think it's the Hotel Association in Oxnard, because they kicked in some big bucks to kind of renovate the operation out here. And if anybody comes out, it's very noticeable. They've got the stands up. There's signage.
That's on the other side of the field, over our shoulder back.
Yeah, you can't see it over
the other
that
direction.
Way. They've got more public parking over on that side, on the Ventura Boulevard side of the practice field where the people come in. So before there was just a little spot, and it was for VIPs only. Now they got a huge. I can't judge acreage, but it's like 6-7 acres of parking there, and they've got mulch down for people. It really
from
looks
Chicago,
nice.
You don't know anything about acreage.
I know what 1 acre is, but I can't multiply it by whatever that is. But there's a lot of room, and everything's
Come see us if you're here.
Everything's upgraded, is what I'm telling you.
It's nice. Come see us.
Yeah. And then what it will be noticeable during practice, if you look at the stands, which traditionally have stretched basically from goal line to goal line, traditional stands. In the middle of it, right at the 50-yard line, is probably, what would you say, a 25-yard stretch that is what is now a beer garden.
Yeah, that's where Rob and I will be up in the stands, meeting with fans and talking football up there during practice.
Seriously?
No, I'm thinking about it though. I always go up.
We ought to just go up there and do our show.
I'll tell you what,
social setting up there.
This is no lie though, Bill, and you'll notice this, Mickey. I think if you walk the field, as you said, there's like a yard between us and the fans.
I need to look at that.
Yeah, there's like literally. So we'll be up in the stands. So if you see us, let's say hello.
We should do that one day.
You know what?
Just hang out in the beer garden.
I went up there a couple times last year and sat up real high so I can see
the whole field.
With your fans?
Sign autographs?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
I bet you did.
I take pictures with people.
So anyway, it's a different look for the fan experience out here. It should be very interesting. I don't know how much beer's selling for, but the city of Oxnard's doing all that. So we will.
805, good beer they have out here.
We will see.
And you know what? And the best part about all this, the upgrade, is they're trying to make sure they're enticing the Cowboys to continue coming back, and I'm all for that.
Yes.
Just the last year of the contract?
67 degrees. It's warming up.
All right.
It's been pretty cool back in Dallas, too.
It started off this morning when I went out to work out at 61.
Okay.
All right. Very
Thank you,
good.
David Finfrock.
And Rob, as you can see, for
the
third day in a row, there's not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. All right, what does it take to get Dak to the higher elevation? That's what Brian brought up in the last segment. So what do you think?
You know what? I think he's on the right path. I do like the fact that I like the addition of John Kitna. Yeah, just from observations of just watching the OTAs and the mini camps and stuff, attention to detail. Dak even talked about it in some of his camps and stuff that he was doing. That even with John, that how to point the knee, point the elbow, get yourself in throwing position. Those are all things. We've always for years talked about Tony Romo. He always worked on one thing before camp. Always tried to get better on one thing. I think Dak is to that point in his career where he's trying to think about ways to, how do I improve my game? I could throw to my left. I could move. I'm mobile. I'm tough. But how can I stand there and make a good, accurate throw on that dig route? How can I have a little touch pass out to the flat? Or how can I get the ball to the tight end on the drag underneath him? These are all things as Dak, as he's grown older, it's not about playing with guts and guile and just instinct and God-given ability. It's about, hey, let's work on my craft a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more proficient with how I play it. And that's where I think if you look for the elevation of the game, I think Dak was always one of those guys that understood what he had to do and what he saw. But he's taken it to a whole nother level with that ability to the vision and then also the athletic ability along with the mechanics to make his game better.
What you got? I'll go ahead. I think it's as simple as this. Maybe I'm being too simple with it. I think it's just time in the pilot's chair. Just
time
more
at task.
Time on task.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people forget that it took Tony Romo a few years. I think by the time he was towards the end of his career here, he had mastered the offense. He had seen everything a defense could throw at him.
Sure.
Pre-snap, during the play, and was able to adjust off of it and have that calm in the pocket. And I think Dak, I don't know if the offseason workouts are enough of a gauge. I think once we get to out here in the games, we'll really see it. But he just seemed like such a more comfortable guy back there in the OTAs.
Physically looks different, too.
He looks different, too.
Yeah.
But I just think he needs more time back there. I really do.
Did you guys
think about this?
Go ahead.
He is basically 6 games away from being where Tony was when he started playing in the NFL. I mean, Tony was in his 4th year, and it was 6 games into the year before Parcells pulled the trigger on him.
Yeah.
Did everybody watch the last 8 games?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, you want to get better. I challenge you to look at his 3-year stats and Troy Aikman's 3-year stats. It pales. Troy's stats pale in comparison to what Dak has already done. And when did Troy make his big leap? His 4th year. Because when he left off this team, when he hurt his knee in '91, this was a 6-5 team, and his stats, when you looked at them at that point, were not all that great, and his quarterback rating was not all that great. This guy has a career quarterback rating near 90. He finished last year completing 71% of his passes the last 8 games. If you compared that to everybody else in the last 8 games, he led the league in pass percentage the second half of the season, and he had a 103 quarterback rating the last 8 games, and that includes getting shut out in Indianapolis. So he was pretty efficient. Now what happened? Oh, Amari Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Amari Cooper showed up. I don't know that they changed any of his mechanics or anything significantly, but he started playing better.
Yeah.
And if he can do what Brian said and now keep elevating the way Aikman did, the way Romo did, then you might have yourself a pretty darn good quarterback here, especially since I don't think teams this year will be able to say, we'll take away Amari Cooper the way they did in 2017 with Des Bryant, and we'll stop this passing game, because I think Michael Gallup and Randall Cobb are going to make a significant input to what's going on here. Now, it helps if Zeke's there, right?
Right.
I don't wish that on anybody, not to have a threatening running game, and I don't care what the analytics say. Yeah. Brad was telling me he was reading some analytic talking about how you can't count on the running game. It doesn't help your offense. You have to be able to throw the ball. Well, I don't agree with that if you've got a running back that can take it to the house anytime he can touch the ball. And that helps everything. And add Travis Frederick into the equation, add tight ends who actually come into this season, and not talking about Witten, the other 2 guys that have actually caught a ball in the NFL, because neither one of them had caught a ball last year.
Right.
And you were playing those guys along with Jeff Swain, who had all of 9 catches. So it makes a difference, and your left guard is no longer an undersized rookie at 20 years old who should have been playing his last year at Texas.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it the first half of last year, cycling in all those different receivers without Amari Cooper, 5 or 6 guys. And Dak even admitted, like, we needed to kind of trim it down. So I knew what to expect from this guy lining up in this spot, and Cooper solved that. And Michael Gallup solved that, to your point, by really getting better game to game last year. I think his best game was against the Rams in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was.
So you're expecting a jump from him too.
I hate to circle back to about Zeke, but Mickey eloquently just said it, but who benefits more from Zeke being here or not being, or who struggles the most with not being? Again, would it be Dak or is it Kellen Moore? You know what I'm saying? I mean, a first-year play caller, but Kellen Moore he's been in the league. He's been around. It's not like he's just a guy that was, at W.T. White High School in North Dallas and gets thrown into being an offensive coordinator. He's been in the league.
He's
been a coach
with this team, and he's seen how Zeke has been used.
Yeah, but who really benefits the most? And I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but I'm thinking, if I'm Kellen Moore, give me every tool, everything I can to call plays. I don't need as much as I love Dak and as much as I want to try and, if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm going, love Dak, want to get him involved, love Amari Cooper, love Michael Gallup, love Jason Witten, love my offensive line. But does Dak need Zeke more, or does Kellen Moore need him more?
No, I think both. I mean, just look at the 6 games he missed in 2017. What did defenses do?
I'm just saying for a first-year play caller.
They backed off. Yeah, I don't care who's calling plays. Right. If the defense is backing off and they're saying, I'll absorb anything Alfred Morris does. I'll absorb it because he's not going to beat me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't have to worry about him.
Fair.
I have to worry about Dak to Dez. Yeah. And I'm going to make sure, by God, those 2 guys aren't going to beat me. And defenses backed off.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that they're up at the line of scrimmage and going, we cannot let this cat get past the line of scrimmage.
Well, all the things that you said about Dak makes me feel good. Yeah. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's Kellen Moore that needs, the play caller. I mean, Dak, we've all kind of seen. When you said 8 games, good trajectory going up. Everybody, Rob was feeling good about it. Everybody's kind of feeling good about Dak this year. But I think the bigger unknown is Kellen Moore.
Well,
that's the thing. It's like, how will Kellen Moore react with next man up? Is that fair to Kellen Moore as a play caller to play next man up with Darius Jackson and Pollard and those guys?
Well, we've talked to Kellen Moore about this in the offseason. What did he say? Like, we're going to look at some new things and we'll put in some wrinkles basically and stuff like that, but we're not going to get away from what we do. That's core principles of this offense.
That's what people
What's
think.
The core of this offense? It's Ezekiel Elliott.
That's where people, I think, we've had mailbag questions, and I encourage you guys to always read the mailbag stuff because those are good questions you guys ask. But the thing about it is, we've asked with Zeke, with all new terminology. I don't think it's all new terminology. I don't think this is a brand new offense. It's a core offense of what we've seen. The 37 going off the left end, the 38 going off the right end with the run plays. There's core principles about this offense. You're right. We're going to see wrinkles and bunch formations and different things. He's going to do things different than Scott Linehan, but at the core, it's not a different offense.
They're not going to get away from using Ezekiel Elliott, assuming he's on the field.
No, and really, the offense, I don't think you're going to see radical changes. So the biggest challenge for, I think, Kellen Moore is the rhythm of calling plays.
Fair.
He's never had to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Never. Probably not since, I said it the other day, since
Boise.
High school when his dad let him call his own plays his
sure.
senior year.
Sure.
And so that's the key thing. What kind of rhythm? How many times does Jason Garrett have to step in and go, I don't know about that. Let's do this.
Not so much.
Right? Yeah. And he's got help. John Kitna's been in these situations before.
Doug Nussmeier's been a play caller.
Nussmeier, and Kitna, he's played quarterback on teams that didn't have Ezekiel Elliott as the running back.
Absolutely.
So he knows what it's like. So and I think Kellen is open to advice. I don't think he's the type of guy that's like, hey, this is my job. Get out of here. He's not an independent contractor. This is, and they keep saying, and he keeps saying, it's a collaborative effort, and I think he will listen.
And the head coach promoted him, right? But the head coach has been in the exact same position before. He's been a first-time play caller with the Dallas Cowboys 12 years ago. So he knows the challenges, and he's going to be available to help him out. I mean, it's to your point, it's not going to be Kellen on an island by himself.
So we shouldn't worry about Kellen Moore, the play caller.
I want to see it.
Well, no, you said it. He needs everything at the table for him.
Yeah.
As many pieces as you can. That's a pretty big piece that's not here right now for the starting.
I mean, think about it. Walter Payton made whoever's calling plays for the Bears in '85 a lot easier.
Yeah.
Better than having to hand the ball all the time to Matt Suey.
Yeah.
You see in this league.
It's over my head.
Gotcha. Penn State fullback.
Gotcha.
Good player.
Thanks. Sorry.
And the only reason I did that is Brad Shab saw in the Chicago Tribune. They're going through a series of the top 100 Chicago Bears
all time
in history. Mm-hmm. And now, when we're talking their history, we're not talking going back to 1960. Yeah. We're going back to the 30s.
Bulldog
right?
Turner.
We're going back to the Depression.
Yeah.
And Brad was naming some names, and I'm going, okay, that guy's in the 30s or 40s because I don't recognize
Bronco
it.
Nagurski, you didn't recognize those names?
Yeah, and they were only at 42. They're going down. So
who's the number one?
My guess, it's Dick Butkus. And if it's not Dick Butkus, it's Walter Payton.
It's got to be Sweetness, right?
Yeah.
Unless they go with Sid Luckman.
He used to toss it around pretty good.
Yeah.
Not Billy Wade. No
and there
Billy
was
Wade.
Billy Wade was like.
I know I could draw him offside.
He was in the 80s. He was in the 80s.
Yeah. So who's the best quarterback in Bears history?
It's probably Sid Luckman.
Sid Luckman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Jack and
modern
Cannon.
era.
In the modern era, Jim McMahon.
Grossman? No.
Okay, well, Mickey ponders
That's
that.
a good one.
More Talking Cowboys in just a moment.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for a little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
It's time for tailgating with the OtterBox boys.
The OtterBox that builds those crazy protective phone cases?
Yup, and now they're changing the side dish game with the OtterBox Trooper Soft Cooler. Lightweight, mobile, and leak-proof, Trooper is perfect for blitzing a crowded parking lot with a Frito pie.
Amazing. Hey, you think I could fit my 7-layer salmon salad into the Trooper cooler?
Yup, but please don't.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Learn more about the Trooper soft coolers at otterbox.com.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Hey, Bill, do you want to use what the pros use? Jack Black is the official men's brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Get your Jack Black Playmaker 4 JB faves plus a full-size lip balm for just $10 with free shipping at getjackblack.com. Use code Cowboys. And by the way, the lady that's in charge of this told me she really appreciates my reads, and you guys should back off.
I just know that I get scared whenever I approach a day having not used Jack Black.
And I'll tell you,
I also get scared every time that Mickey starts reading.
We're in our ears. We're here for a while. We can use a box.
And
there's one of a care package. Hey, we're all up for a
I
care
got a
package.
hookup. She was so good, she got it to me the day before we left.
Give that address, Mickey. We'll put it on the table here. I like our round table, by the way.
I do too.
I like this a lot. I do like this a lot.
Yeah, it's very conversational.
I'm
wouldn't you
closer
say?
to Mickey now.
Do you feel like you should have a little cup of coffee here and sip every once in a while?
This is like breakfast at Wimbledon. I got my fruit plate here.
We would have brought you
I was
some
not
cream.
able. By the way, I was not able to eat this prior to the show because I had a little problem. And this is teamwork, okay? This is teamwork. When you have any team, whether it's a football team or a broadcast team, one player will pick up another player. And Mickey literally picked me up at the Goodyear tire service place down here because my rental car showed that my left rear tire was low on air, and I didn't want to take the chance tonight at 9 o'clock when that Goodyear place is closed that I might have a flat tire.
That's a responsible
and then
man.
I'd have to have Mickey come out and change the tire for me.
Did Mickey go, oh,
come on.
I was there in 10 minutes. I was better than Uber.
There you are, and cheaper too.
And I also forgot my credential. So coming back, I thought was going to be problematic.
But he's been around here so long that Mickey didn't even need a credential to get in the doors.
Exactly.
All right, my question when we were talking about the Cowboys offense, the pass offense, what is the ceiling for this Cowboys pass offense? When you look around the league,
well, Bill, I don't want to put a ceiling on anything.
when you see what Patrick Mahomes did last year with Kansas City, 50 touchdown passes his first year as a starter, 5,000 yards passing. He had some of the same elements that the Cowboys have.
Sure do.
Kareem Hunt for much of the season, Burner and Tyreek Hill. Now he did have the playmaking tight end in Kelsey as well. But and then you look at other teams around the league and what's happening in pass offenses in the league. And I think everyone here will say that, okay, the pass offense, even though the last 8 games were much better last year, it still needs to elevate. What's the ceiling? Is it the 2014 Cowboys when Tony Romo, I think he threw 34 touchdown passes? It still had, a DeMarco Murray who is running for 1,800 yards or whatever, because that element is still going to be here with this Cowboys offense. So what is the pass offense ceiling for this team?
Where has Dak been touchdown-wise for 3 years? About that 25 range?
Last year, he was at 22 with 8 picks. The year before, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks. In his first year, 23 touchdowns, 4 picks.
So he's been pretty good with that differential.
By the way, you mentioned Aikman earlier.
Yeah.
Comparing to Aikman.
It was absolute
Aikman's first
opposite.
3 years, and this, of course, it was a totally different deal as far as the passing game back then compared to now.
This is going to shock you.
All right, touchdowns to interceptions.
It's going to shock everybody.
31 touchdown passes his first 3 years and 46 interceptions.
Yeah.
Per Aikman. And Dak right now is at 67 touchdowns and 25 picks.
Can I get that Miami head coach back here and then maybe that coordinator from Carolina? Those guys did some good things with Detroit.
But the coordinator from Carolina didn't show up till 91.
Well, that's right. And the talent level was not good in 89, 90, right?
But
I mean, it's a little different story.
Right.
The offensive line wasn't as
I just have a lot of respect for Jimmy Johnson. That's why I said that. To me, I think the additions – we talk about what's back with, Travis Frederick being back. I think that helps the offense so much. I think Jason Witten being back helps the offense. You talk about, people think, oh, well, he's slow. He can't do this, can't do that.
He's not Kelsey.
Yeah, he's not Kelsey, but still down in the red zone, he's a good player. 18 yards in, I talk about that a bunch. I think that's where you'll see some good things from him. But the biggest thing, I think the health of Randall Cobb could be a huge difference maker here because to me, Randall Cobb plays down the field where Cole Beasley played underneath and was really good at it. Yeah, it's throw him the ball, he gets it, and he gets down. Randall Cobb is a catch it, run, get up the field. If Randall Cobb can stay healthy, and this is the big if about Randall Cobb, if he can stay healthy, then you're going to see somebody different in this offense. You're going to see the ball going down the field. You're going to see the ball going to Gallup. You're going to see Amari Cooper catching the slant and taking it like we did last year. But Randall Cobb is the one, to me, that's going to be the difference maker of some third down plays. If it's 3rd and 7, and all of a sudden they throw it to him, but it's like a 21-yard gain. Those are the things I think you're going to see different about this pass offense that we didn't see last year or in previous years with Cole Beasley playing the slot.
And I think you will see better production from the tight end position. You're going to see
Jarwin.
They're not Kelsey,
right?
But you saw what Jarwin's capable of doing, and now he's got some experience. And if you've been watching Witten, and I know skeleton drills, he is running much better right now than where he left off in 2017.
Yeah, found the youth.
I was watching him run some routes the other day. He's catching the ball over his head. He's running sharp, crisp routes. And
it's like the year off helped his body.
Yeah, and he's kind of, because I thought at the end he was some.
He was lumbering.
Lumbering. I was going to say struggling. He wasn't struggling. He was lumbering.
Yeah.
And the biggest drop off I thought was his ability to block.
Right.
He was getting called for holding.
Yeah.
Well, with
Slow
get
hands,
Schultz out
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and you spot Witten, and you put Jarwin out there in a 2 tight end set, and now who's going to cover a 6'5" tight end down the field the way that kid can run?
Right.
And then you got to worry about Witten underneath. And then you got to worry about, and I'm going to assume, handing the ball to Zeke. So they're going to have more options than they were the start of last year.
Michael Gallup, Tony Pollard, they're going to put him out there and have some kind of role for him. I think Sanjay Lal told us in the offseason, there's speed all over the place. They have speed at pretty much every position. And that's how you get those. The thing they were missing the most, and Amari Cooper helped down the stretch, was those chunk plays.
Yeah,
chunk plays
sure
down the field.
Yeah.
They didn't have them in the first 8 games. Just didn't have it.
Gallup will be the best second receiver the Cowboys have had for Dak Prescott, hands down, easy.
I like it.
Maybe better than they've had in a number 2 receiver in quite some time.
I was surprised they cut Allen Hurns, though. I know it's kind of going away from what he's talking about, but I was thinking, who is going to be that guy if something happens?
No, I'm with you on that.
Who is going to be, and there's people within the organization that I talk to about Allen Hurns. Everybody loves Allen Hurns.
Mm-hmm.
Allen Hurns and Tavon Austin and Britt Brown, the associate athletic trainer, I know they didn't take a day off. I mean,
No,
we all, even though we weren't had shows and stuff, Bill, we could still walk into our office, look out the window, and every day you saw those 3 guys out there busting their, out there, and that's the disappointment, because I think that Allen Hurns is actually in better physical shape now than when
that they did
well,
a
the
great
Dolphins.
favor
The
to
Dolphins got a great deal at $3 million for Allen Hurns.
They did a great favor.
Up to $3 million.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think they did a great favor to him, and they couldn't cut him when he's injured.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But the ability for him to stay in the Cowboys organization throughout the offseason to rehab and so forth put him in position where now he can go to the Dolphins and make the team. But I thought all along that they were going to address his contract situation.
Yeah.
See, I was surprised.
That's what Mickey and Rob were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones might be a little bit tougher than,
I was surprised they picked up his option, frankly.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're not going to cut an injured
So
player.
that would
no, not cut him, but I was surprised because they had the ability.
He had a club option on him,
It was
right?
a club option,
So
and
they could.
And I thought, okay,
because it's a club option, they could do that.
$6.25 million. That's a lot.
But,
and that's where they did him a favor by keeping him around so that he could
right
rehab.
And think about this: how many teams have I don't think I'm out of place saying he was the 4th receiver.
That's what I was thinking.
So how many teams have a 4th receiver for $6 million against the cap?
That's a point.
Steven spoke to this day. We spent the first segment talking about how they're going to pay all these guys. He said we have to watch where we allocate our money when we've got this many young players coming up for contracts.
It's the curse of drafting well.
It is. It really is. It's a good problem to have. But when you have a 4th receiver making that much money, I think they would have liked to maybe brought him back at a different salary. But he got a nice deal from the Dolphins on 1 year.
My focus was if something were to happen to one of the top 3, who is going to be the 4th guy that's going to replace who's going to play the X or who's going to play the Z?
That's why we're here.
Yeah, you can move Cobb around, but what if something happens to Cobb? Okay, we had a mailbag question again about who's going to play the slot, and we went through, and it wasn't like just one name. It was like, okay, they might try, Lance Lenore, they might try Austin.
Cooper can move in there.
Exactly. Yeah. See,
I think this puts a lot of pressure on Tavon Austin
to make this team.
Through,
yeah, absolutely.
To make the team.
Yeah.
And because they can use him in a lot of different ways, but he's got to stay healthy.
And they need a punt returner, too. And I know Cobb was kind of back there in the offseason workouts, but do you want to use him in that role?
At this point, it's Cobb.
You think so?
I think so.
I mean, he's done it.
Who else are you going to put back there?
Tavon Austin.
Yeah, Tavon. Yeah, but he's got to make the team.
I'm saying if he makes the team, that's one way he can make
the team. Does
Tavon
make this roster as the 6th guy? Is that the 6th guy if they keep 6?
I could qualify that because he can do other things for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
He can play special teams.
Right.
And if it's not Tavon, it's Randall Cobb. And
Jordan Lewis,
and Keith,
too, maybe?
Keith, I heard no. Keith,
okay.
Keith told me that Randall Cobb, the second day he was here, came to him and said, Coach, I would like to return punts. And he said, you don't get that from a 9-year veteran.
Yeah.
Ever.
He might be so valuable the Brian Broaddus gets scared,
right?
The Brian Broaddus chicken theory,
or
like I can't replace him if he
situations.
Gets hurt,
That's what I'm asking. Like, do you really
and
want
then
to
you
do
have
that?
to have a guy that.
If I had Hearns, go return punts.
I get a guy that can catch it too.
Yeah.
I got to have a guy that can catch it.
But how many times have we watched this team just struggle with field position because it's a catch?
Well,
you know,
but that's the
how about
the
better
significance.
blocking too?
That's the significance of the punt return, because what you don't want to do on punt returns is make a mistake. And
Rams
lose a game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, kickoff returns, all right, kick it over my head, we'll go out to the 25, right? And you know, you got to find somebody to return the kickoffs, but I think Pollard's probably that guy right now.
We need to keep an eye on that. We do. When
but
drills,
for the punt, as it was explained to me, you usually don't lose games on kickoffs, but you can lose a game right away on punts.
Yeah, that Rams
punt
game
coverage or punt returns. You know, you don't want one blocked.
Cole Beasley dropped a punt against the Giants, was it, early on in his career?
Oh, and then that's the one. Is that the game that Dwayne Harris brought back one? Was that the game at Giant Stadium?
Yeah, it was at Giant Stadium.
Yeah, and then Dwayne Harris brought one back that won the game.
And then the Switzer fumbled punt and
Rams
against the Rams in 2017 that turned that whole thing around.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you looking for? What are you looking for today out here in our final minutes here of Talking Cowboys? What are you looking at today?
OTA practice, basically, with the helmets and the T-shirts.
You know what? I think Brian said it earlier. We're gonna get to see how they line up.
Yeah, line up.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Who's the first? Now they'll probably go by seniority, right?
Yeah.
So who's first running back?
So it's Darius Jackson. That's the way they were doing it in OTAs.
He doesn't look bad though. By the way, his 2 years from being knee surgery. Looks a little fresher moving around out there in the OTAs.
And he's going to have to really show him, because he got those opportunities late, and he didn't look like a guy that can handle it. Right?
Friggin' board
so
out
it'd be good to see that and see how they're lining up.
6 carries, 16 yards.
Lining up now behind the wide receivers, behind the top three.
Yeah.
Like who's out there next? Who's in the slot next?
And you're missing a couple defensive linemen still with DeMarcus, Tyrone Crawford.
Yeah.
So
and Byron Jones. We can go on Byron Jones.
Just figuring out that defensive line rotation is going to be interesting over this month.
A lot of young corners out there too.
Yeah,
a lot of young corners going to try and battle for spots and stuff. That's what's really cool about it.
See how they use the rookies, the draft choices.
But I've always found this, my experience working in this league, guys cut themselves. Mm-hmm. You could talk, we could all talk about, we're high to see, and we're all going to be anxious to look. And by about that week, 2 week, 10 days into practice, about that 10th practice, we're going to look. Okay, these are the 53 guys we think.
You said at the very beginning, what do coaches love the most? Consistency.
These
young guys
can't have
to
bad
show
practice.
That's what Antoine Wood showed for 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
He didn't really have a bad day.
Yeah.
And he proved to him, I can handle this job.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen guys cut themselves the 4th preseason game even?
Yeah. Oh,
well,
that
it
corner.
happens.
Who was that corner that one year we were playing? They were playing the Ravens. Who was it? The corner that had the team made. It was and he ended up.
I got a wide receiver example.
Okay, go ahead.
Andy Jones a few years ago, who looked
Andy
great
Jones.
out here.
Yeah.
And the game started, and he took
Lance Lenore could do that to you too.
Yeah. Well,
Lance Lenore could look
done
like
it, and unfortunately,
All Valley Ranch.
He's going to have to work really hard to shed that label.
Yeah.
Because I think they've seen the same thing we've
Oh,
seen.
yeah.
And I think two guys, once the pads come on, that I think I'll be very interested to keep watching is where Travis Frederick is.
Yeah.
Is he Travis Frederick?
Sure.
And can Robert Quinn hold down that right defensive end spot?
I like it,
because
Mickey.
if he
I like
can, and I want to see it in pads, right? Because we did the Jihad Ward dance last year, right?
Hey, Rod warned us back then. You got to see it in pads,
right?
And
he got out here and he disappeared.
I love Robert Quinn though. I know what he's saying. I don't want to go any further. I really don't. I'm with you.
But I think they love Robert Quinn.
Yeah,
now
they
you
should.
got to see it.
Yeah. How about Dorrance Armstrong too? I mean, because no Crawford, who's played left end all OTA. Every OTA snap at starting at left end was Dorrance Armstrong.
So the end positions.
Yeah.
How about
kinda wide
Taco?
open.
How about Taco?
And that's what I'm saying.
Taco.
Let's see it. Let's see Jalen Jelks. I know you got a nice bend and burst. Okay, now when your pads come
like
on,
that bend and burst.
Can you do that? You know,
Kerry Hyder, who they signed,
and Kerry Hyder, yes.
They have some fun.
Yep.
And Christian Covington, who we haven't seen yet.
It's a ton
But
of
we
dudes.
won't see Chris Covington today.
Yeah.
And they're really disappointed about that. because they thought he was coming on.
What happened to him, by the way?
Apparently during
hamstring.
The run yesterday.
The run.
Oh, okay.
I bet he hit one of those divots.
There you go.
Divots.
All right.
Divots.
All right, we'll be back again tomorrow morning with more divot talk as Mickey will be watching the divots at practice today, and we appreciate you joining us also on Periscope.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
we'll
you, folks.
Talk at you again tomorrow on Talkin' Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?